Hi everybody, welcome to the cell check video. Today we're going to be covering section 1.3. So for number one, what type of measure scale is being used? Nominal, ordinal, interval, or ratio? So for part A, political outlook, extreme left, center, left of center, right of center, or extreme right. So this type of measure scale being used is going to be nominal. Now let's look at part B, time of day on an analog watch. This type of measurement is going to be interval. For part C, the distance in miles to the closest grocery store. This is going to be a ratio measure scale. For part D, the dates 1066, 1492, 1644, 1947, and 1944 is going to be another interval measure scale. Letter E, the heights of 21 through 65-year-old women. This is another ratio measure scale. Part F, common letter grades, A, B, C, D, and F. This is going to be an ordinal measure scale. Okay, so that's number one. Let's go ahead and look at number two, a already created frequency table. So for number two, the table indicates the amount in inches of annual rainfall in a sample of towns within the Bay Area and Central Valley areas. Okay, so we're given rainfall within ranges. We are given frequency of towns that fall within those rainfall ranges. So we have about 6 towns that fall between 2.95 and 4.97 average rainfall. And we get the relative frequency since we are out of 50 towns, and we get the cumulative frequency given to us. So we're going to use this information to answer a couple questions. So on the next page, part A says, find the percentage of rainfall that is less than 9.01. So less than 9.01, that's going to fall into these rows highlighted. Rainfall that is less than 9.01. So we're going to add up those percentages, which is, let's go ahead and change these percentages in the table. So 0.12 is actually 12%, 14%, and 30%. Just move the decimal over twice. You might as well finish out the rest of these for the sake of practice. 18% and 10%. And notice that these will all add up to 100%. But okay, let's go back to the question. So find the percentage of rainfall that is less than 9.01. So all we're going to do is add up 12%, 14%, and 30%. Those are all the percentages less than. So let's go ahead and do that. So this is 12% plus 14% plus 30%, which equals 56%. Okay, let's move on to part B. Part B says find the percentage of rainfall between 6.99 and 13.05 inches. So let's go ahead and highlight between those two values. So I'm going to erase this green highlight and use pink highlight now. So we want to be between 6.99 and 13.05. So we want to be between these values. So those values are going to be 30%, 16%, and, oops, excuse me, went a little too far, and 18%. So we're going to go ahead and add those up as well. So we would have 30% plus 16% plus 18% equals 64%. Moving on to letter C, find the number of towns that have rainfall between 2.95 and 9.01 inches. So let's go ahead and highlight between 2.95 and 9.01. Let's go ahead and erase these values. So 2.95, start right here, and 9.01. So we're going to stop about there. And so we're being asked the number of towns. So number of towns, what that means is frequency, the number of. So what we're going to do is add up the frequencies of those classes. So we're going to add up 6, 7, and 15. So let's go ahead and do that. 6 plus 7 plus 15, and that equals 28. Okay, so part D states what fraction of towns surveyed gets between 11.03 and 13.05 inches of rainfall each year. So we're talking about fractions. So that's still relating to relative frequency, but we're already given it in fraction form. So we just got to account for what the question's asking. So between 11.03 and 13.05, let's go ahead and check that out. So essentially it's this row. Let me erase some highlights, but essentially this row as highlighted, 11.03 to 13.05, and that fraction is just 9/50. So that is our answer. 9/50. Okay, and that's it for question 2. Moving on to question 3, another frequency table question. This time, the frequency table is not filled out, and we're going to need to fill out some blanks and answer a couple questions. So let's go ahead and read what number 3 states. 50 part-time students at LMC were asked how many courses they were taking this semester. The incomplete results are shown below. So number of courses is about 1, 2, and 3. And we have a couple frequencies. We have one relative frequency and empty cumulative relative frequency. So we know that we were asked about 50 students. So what I can identify already is that my total is going to be 50 students. And so if I'm already accounting for 30 and 15, 30 plus 15 is 45. But if I need 50 students, how many students am I going to need for that third row? I'm missing about 5 students to get to 50. So 5 would be the frequency for that row. And if you add 30 plus 15 plus 50, you get 50. But okay, let's go ahead and fill out the relative frequencies now. So 30/50 equals 0.6. For the sake of it, let's do percentages as well. So about 60%. And then we have, for our second row, we're going to have 15/50, which is 0.3. which is 30%. And for the last row, we're going to have 5 over 50, which is 0.1, which is just 10%. And if you add all of these up, you would get essentially 1.00 or 100%. Okay, let's go ahead and check out the cumulative relative frequency. So with cumulative relative frequency, remember for the first row, we always start out with just the first relative frequency. So I'm going to start with 0.6. I'm using decimals this time. And then we're going to just add the previous cumulative relative frequency to the new relative frequency. So this would be 0.6 plus 0.3 equals 0.9. And then 0.9 plus 0.1 equals 1.00. And so that's how you know you did it correctly if you're getting 100% or 1. But okay, so that takes care of part A. We're filling in the blanks. And now what we need to do is find the percentage of students taking exactly 2 courses. So exactly 2 courses, percentage of students. So that should be 30%. Here is taking exactly 2 courses, and that's our percentage, our relative frequency. So our answer would be 30%. Now for part C, what percentage of students take 1 or 2 courses? So we're once again talking about percent, and we're talking about 1 or 2 courses. So let me go ahead and erase this percentage here. This was 30%. Take 1 or 2 courses. So that's essentially 1 course and 2 courses. So 60% plus 30%. So that would be 90%. Okay. So that's it for section 1.3 self-check. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.